Torah-observant Christians, like all other Christians out there in this world, are seeking to walk in the ways of Yehovah, our Elohim. We study the Scriptures and seek the wisdom of the Holy Spirit as we make the best decisions we can for our families. When it comes to the special days to celebrate and observe Yehovah, Torah-observant Mormons and Christians agree that there are clearly days set aside in the Scriptures that Yehovah our Elohim commanded us that we observe. These days are easily outlined in the book of Leviticus chapter 23. They are mentioned all throughout the Scriptures, and even in the New Testament we see that Yeshua, who the Gentiles call Jesus Christ, and his disciples keeping the feast days. These days are called Shabbat, the weekly Sabbath, Passover, the feast of unleavened bread, the feast of first fruits, Shavuot, who the Gentiles call Pentecost, Yom Torah, the feast of trumpets, Yom Kippur, who the Gentiles call the Day of Atonement. Note that this Yom Kippur day is not a feast day, but a somber day unto Yehovah. Sukkot, the Feast of Booths. These 7 set-apart times are clear in the Scriptures. There is no debating among Torah-observant Mormons or Christians that we should acknowledge these days unto Yehovah our Elohim. But what about the other days of the year? Can we celebrate other days? Should we celebrate other days? There are some Scriptures we have used to help our family decide what days to also observe as holidays, national or otherwise. Numbers chapter 10, verse 10 states, "Also, in the day of your gladness, in your appointed feasts, and at the beginning of your months, you shall blow the shofar, or the trumpet, over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings. And they shall be a memorial for you before Yehovah your Elohim. For I am Yehovah your Elohim." In this passage we see that Yehovah, through Moshe, or Moses' teachings, the children of Israel when to sound the shofar, or trumpet, of celebration. The first time to celebrate he calls in your days of gladness. When he mentions celebrating his set-apart days and lastly celebrating the new moon, or the first day of the month, what is a day of gladness? It is a day of celebration of victory or happiness in that Yehovah your Elohim might have done like a miracle on a given day. In Romans chapter 14 verses 5 and 6 and Colossians chapter 2 verse 16, there are 2 passages where Shaul, or Paul, also makes it clear that any day is a good day to celebrate unto Yehovah your Elohim. Because of the above verses, some, not all Torah-observant Mormons and Christians, enjoy celebrating national holidays and other holidays such as new moons, or the first day of the month, according to the Hebrew reckoning. Purim, as mentioned in the book of Esther. Hanukkah, a day of rededication of the altar and temple after a miraculous victory in Jerusalem, which Yeshua also worshipped. Another day would be Thanksgiving, our national holiday, the 4th of July, or other national independence days, or other national days of recognition. But there are days that you should not keep or observe. Here are the passages we use to answer that question. Yirmiyahu, or Jeremiah 10, Jeremiah 17, 9 through 10, and Deuteronomy 12, 29 through 32. Quote, "The Lord your God, or Yehovah your Elohim, will cut off before you the nations you are about to invade and dispossess. But when you have driven them out and settled in their land, and after they have been destroyed before you, be careful not to be ensnared by inquiring about their gods, saying, How do these nations observe their gods? We will do the same. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things that Jehovah hates. They burn their sons and daughters in the fires as sacrifices unto their gods. See that you do all that I command you. Do not add to it or take away from it, and that's in Devarim or Deuteronomy. These passages make it clear we are not to do things to worship Jehovah in the same ways as the world, pagans, or worshippers of false gods and idols. There are many, many passages that speak of making sure we set ourselves apart from this world unto Jehovah our Elohim. Taking all of these scriptures into account, most, not all, Torah-observant Christians and Mormons choose not to participate in the following holidays. New Year's, according to the current calendar. Valentine's Day, which is a pagan holiday. St. Patrick's Day, which is a pagan holiday. Easter, which is a pagan holiday and is not Pesach or Passover. Halloween, which is All Saints' Day, which replaced Sukkot, which is not. It's a pagan holiday, and Christmas. Torah-observant Christians and Mormons are seeking to obey Jehovah our Elohim in all we think, say, and do. Therefore, with fear and trembling, we walk out our faith as Yeshua our Messiah taught us to do. Philippians chapter 2, verse 12 states, Therefore, my dear friends, as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now much more in my absence, continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose.